It was supposed to be one of the happiest mornings of my life, a kind that begins with laughter, the smell of coffee drifting through the kitchen, and the soft sound of a familiar voice saying, "Happy anniversary, honey." But that morning, there was only silence. No text, no flowers, no warm smile waiting for me at the door. Just the stillness of a home that suddenly felt too big and too empty. That's the day my husband left me on our anniversary. And yet, that was also the day I learned the power of listening first. For context, we had been married for 11 years. Not perfect years, but steady ones. We had built a home, raised 2 kids, and survived the chaos of life, job changes, hospital visits, financial stress, all of it. But over time, the laughter faded into logistics, conversations became calendars, and love quietly slipped into the background behind everything else we were managing. I sensed something was wrong for months. You know that gut feeling that creeps in when someone's body is present, but their mind is miles away? He'd stopped making eye contact during dinner. He'd stay late at work without explanation. When I'd ask, "Is everything okay?" he'd just smile faintly and say, "Yeah, I'm just tired." But tiredness doesn't erase affection, avoidance does. On the morning of our anniversary, I woke up early and made his favorite breakfast, pancakes with blueberries, black coffee, and a note that said, "Still us." I placed it by his side of the table and waited. But the minutes turned into hours, and the hours stretched into silence. When noon came and there was still no word, I called him. No answer. I texted him, "Everything okay?" Still nothing. My hands shook as I tried to convince myself this was a misunderstanding, that maybe he was planning a surprise or had an emergency. But deep down, I knew something had ended. He finally came home that night, not angry, not apologetic, just detached. His eyes were calm, almost too calm, like someone who had rehearsed what he was about to say 100 times. I stood by the counter and whispered, "You left me on our anniversary." He didn't respond right away. He just took a breath and said, "Can we talk?" And that's when I did something I never thought I would. I said, "You speak first." That moment wasn't about surrendering. It was about courage. For years, I'd been the one explaining, fixing, pleading. I had written the script of our marriage out loud while he remained quiet. So this time, I decided to listen, truly listen, even if what I heard broke me. He started slowly, his voice trembling. He said he'd been unhappy for a long time, but didn't he know how to say it without hurting me? That the life we built, while beautiful, had turned into a cycle of routines that left him numb. That he didn't feel like himself anymore, that somewhere between our jobs, bills, and responsibilities, he'd lost the person he used to be. He said he left that morning because facing me on that day, of all days, made him feel like a fraud. Hearing those words felt like the floor collapsed beneath me. Every instinct screamed to interrupt, to argue, to remind him of all the sacrifices I made. But I didn't. I just let him speak. And as he did, something unexpected happened. The anger softened into clarity. Because beneath his confession wasn't betrayal, but exhaustion. Not hatred, but helplessness. He wasn't walking away from me as much as he was running from the version of himself he no longer recognized. When he was done, I finally spoke. My voice was steady, even though my heart was racing. I told him I felt invisible, not unloved, but unseen. That I too had been lonely, waiting for small gestures that never came. I admitted that I had started measuring love by effort, not emotion. That I missed the man who used to write me notes, who used to make me laugh at the most random moments, who used to hold my hand in crowded rooms. I said, "You think you're the only one who's been disappearing? I've been fading too." I just hid it better. We sat there for hours, peeling back the layers of silence we had built over the years. We talked about everything: the arguments we avoided, the resentment we buried, the moments we both failed each other without even realizing it. At one point, he asked, "Why didn't you yell at me?" I smiled sadly and said, "Because if I yell, you'll hear noise. But if I let you speak first, maybe I'll finally hear the truth." That night didn't fix everything, There were no grand gestures or sudden forgiveness, but there was honesty, raw, uncomfortable, liberating honesty. And for the first time in years, we looked at each other not as husband and wife trapped in expectation, but as two people trying to understand where love went. The next few weeks were a blur of emotional cleanup. We decided to take a short separation not as a punishment, but as a pause. Experts say sometimes distance can reveal what proximity hides, and they're right. During that time apart, I learned how much of my identity had been tied to keeping our marriage together. I started journaling every morning, writing down what I missed, what I feared, what I hoped for. Some days, I missed him terribly. Other days, I didn't. Both feelings were valid. He reached out after 3 weeks. We met at a small cafe, neutral ground, no expectations. He looked tired but softer. He told me he'd been seeing a therapist, trying to figure out why he'd felt so disconnected. He admitted he had never learned how to communicate emotions beyond "I'm fine." I told him I had started therapy too, and for the first time we laughed, really laughed about how two people could live together for over a decade and still not know how to speak the same emotional language. That meeting changed something. It wasn't a fairy tale reunion, but it was a beginning, a real one. We agreed to rebuild slowly. Date nights without phones. Sunday mornings just talking. We made a rule. Whoever feels hurt gets to speak first, and the other listens without interrupting. We called it our anniversary rule. I share this story because too many couples fall apart not from lack of love, but from lack of listening. When people feel unseen, they stop trying, and when they stop trying, resentment fills the spaces where love used to live. The day my husband left me wasn't the day our marriage ended, it was the day we finally stopped pretending it was fine. Now, 3 years later, we still have our moments. We argue, we forget things, we get busy. But every anniversary since that one, we sit down and ask the same question. What did you need this year that you didn't get? And we answer honestly. Sometimes it's more affection, sometimes it's space, sometimes it's just gratitude. But that honesty keeps us connected. I often think about that morning, the pancakes, the silence, the empty table. If he hadn't left, maybe we'd still be drifting quietly toward a quiet divorce. Painful honesty saved us where comfort might have killed us. And while not every story ends in reconciliation, every story deserves understanding. Letting someone speak first isn't weakness. It's an act of faith that truth, no matter how painful, is better than silence. So if you're watching this and you feel that ache, that growing distance in your marriage, that silence that hums louder than any argument, maybe it is time to stop talking and start listening. Sit down with your partner and say, you speak first, let the truth come out, unfiltered and raw. You might not like what you hear, but you'll finally be dealing with reality instead of assumptions. And reality, unlike silence, can be repaired. Disclaimer: this story is for emotional and informational purposes only. If you're struggling with relationship issues, please consider seeking professional counseling or couples therapy for personalized guidance. Because sometimes, love doesn't leave, it just gets buried under years of noise. And all it takes to find it again is the courage to let someone else speak first.